Live from Las Vegas, broadcasting around the world. You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker. L.A. Walker. Raw and unfiltered conversations on how to give life's challenges the finger. Truth is your passport to emotional freedom. Give an eviction notice to negativity. Dump yesterday's garbage. Learn how to be positive, energized, healthy, and alive during these insanely unpredictable times. Look up, get up, stay up. Then help somebody else to get up. Remember, any part of up is higher than down. Now, broadcasting hope to the world, L.A. Walker.
Look up, get up, stay up. Hi, everybody. Today's episode is the power of reinvention. I'm so excited about it because here's what I know. This is a brand new world. We are pioneers and we had better embrace it. The definition of reinvention is sterling. It is the action or process through which something is changed so much that it appears to be entirely new. Wow. I have absolutely no idea. I cannot calculate. I cannot remember how many times I have reinvented myself, my direction, and the course for my life throughout these years. People that know me ask me, well, how are you managing this time? You seem to be not as damaged as a lot of people. I'm like, hey, you know why? Because 2008 is when I got damaged. 2008, when we had the Great Recession, is when I thought my life had really, really come to an end. It was the lowest point I had ever been in. I was close to saying, I'm out of here, seriously. And after scraping, praying, digging, searching, climbing to get out of that, once I got out of that, hey, whatever it is that's coming my way, I can do it. And that's where I am right now. And that's where I hope that you are. And I pray that anything that I say or do will help you find that spiritual connectivity that allows you to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to look up, get up, and I'm going to stay up. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Food Network chef, winner of the Cutthroat Kitchen, and an example of the power of reinvention, Chef Stu. I'll ask the question that I know that everyone has asked you probably a million times by now. How did you get the name Chef Stu?
I got the name Stu from a friend of mine in Atlanta. My first television appearance before the major networks was coming. I had met some guys. They had a reality television show that they was trying to pitch to major networks in Atlanta called Table Scraps TV. And they wanted me to be the chef of the show. And so it was a talk show type of a show with a host, kind of like The View before The View was popping. We kind of had that same idea. And so I would cook on the show. And so they was trying to give me a name. At first, to be honest with you, I'm going to tell you, my first name was MJ. I think they was calling me Chef MJ because I was wearing Jordans as I was cooking. He cooking with Jordans on. But I'm like, that name really didn't I couldn't really roll with that one. That didn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? So by my last name being Stewart, my friend GB, he just would start saying Stu, it just rang, and then it just was like Chef Stu, and it just man, we calling you Chef Stu, and I ran with it. I was like, you know what? That makes all the sense in the world. My last name is Stewart. Drop off a couple of letters. Stu is food. So it's kind of like people think I make it up. That's kind of a cool name, but it's really my real name.
That's a gift from heaven. You were born to do this, apparently, huh?
That's why I said, maybe when I thought about it, you know what? Maybe I was born to do this. You gave me the name to do it.
Right, and you acted on it. How in the world did you begin to have a desire to become a chef, and what was your first step in executing that move?
I grew up in a single-parent household, as many of us do, across our communities. And so my mother used to work nights. She used to work at the school as a janitor. She would be to work at 3. I think she got off at 11. And at the time, I had a younger brother. I still have a younger brother who was there with me as well. And so we got out of school at about 2:30. So on our way home from school, my mother would be on her way to work. And so she would cook, but just kind of keeping it all in perspective, 3 o'clock, we just got home. We really not hungry right this second. Our mother's not home, so we kind of free to do whatever we want to do. We just got to make sure that we catch that 7 or 8 o'clock phone call at night just for her to check on us. And then, you know what I'm saying, heat up whatever she had made. And so realistically, I mean, that was around the time we would eat. So it's 7, it's 8, and now we about to eat dinner. But what she done made when sitting over there for a couple of hours, and you know how it is in our household that if you speak up about certain things, you better be prepared to
step up,
elbow grease.
Right.
So the minute that we said, you know what, we don't want this, it's been sitting over there all this time, and
man,
she said, cool, Robert, you the oldest, you can go ahead and start cooking. And so it became like a survival thing. I mean, this was like 12 years old type for real, where I would be cooking coming home like the 6th grade around that time. And so I cooked for me and my brother. He was my crash test dummy. If you remember the commercial Kicks, Give It to Mikey Hill.
Yes, I do. I used to love that.
Game plan with me and my brother. I'm going to make something, and then you try it and let me know how it tastes. And it kind of backfired because what ended up happening was my brother started to love my food. And it was almost a thing where it was like, you know, I'll let him do it. So it was like, it became like a thing. But not to overkill, but just to give you the real depth into how this transformed. I come from a really big family on my mother's side. And so although she worked Monday through Friday, on the weekends we would go into the city to visit my grandmother. We would go to church. We would go get our hair cut and, you know, hang out with the family. And so my grandmother having 13 children, and those children got children. And this is like still that family big mama every Sunday, everybody swinging.
I got it.
So
I love it.
And we stayed over there Friday night, all day Saturday, and then went home Sunday night. So in the course of those 3 days, we ate 7 meals. My grandmother was amazing. I mean, 7 meals in 3 days. It was like, man, I mean, you getting breakfast, bacon, you getting eggs, you getting toast. Lunchtime, she done whipped up something else, and then she getting prepared for dinner. So as crazy as it would be, I was kind of too young. The city was a little rough, so I couldn't really go to many places when we was hanging over there. So you was kind of stuck to either sitting on the front or sitting in the living room watching TV, or basically in the kitchen with your grandmother because she was in there cooking. And so I would just go in there and talk to her. And my grandfather smoked cigarettes. I had asthma. So when he started smoking cigarettes, I had to go in the kitchen.
Right.
And so that just like I picked up so much stuff by watching her that when I would go back home, I would kind of know what to do. And I would call her and be like, how did you do this? And I would think of the stuff that she made over the weekend that I liked. And then I would call her and ask her, you know, how did she make it? This was before cordless phones, before camera phones. Well, I remember as a kid being on the phone and could only get so close to the stove. And I'd be describing like, I'm frying chicken right now. She like, it's not done. Right there. It is not done. Turn it over. And that's how we cook. And from that, I would end up enrolling into culinary school and taking culinary arts restaurant management coursework. And so by the time that I graduated, I had already had it. And then I just kind of was burned out, to be honest with you. Like, I had been cooking since 12, now I'm 18, 19. It's like, I'm ready to get into something else. But everybody that knew me knew that I could cook, so it was just like something that I possessed. But a couple of years later, after working some random jobs and, you know, moving around a little bit, I really realized the importance of a career versus a job, and like took an inventory of my life and really like looked at myself in the mirror and wrote down the positive qualities that I thought that I had, the things that would be important. And it's kind of weird because I ended up getting a job at this restaurant like 7 years later as a line cook. And as I'm talking to him, same way I'm kind of like talking to you, like it all came back. Like, look, I've been cooking since I was a kid. I know the terminology of the kitchen. I mean, I think I got OCD. I understand like the whole method of like being able to work with people, and so that was my environment. And when I stepped into it, I realized like that this was it, that I wasn't going to dance around with no more career choices, that I'm back in my element. They always say to be successful, you should do something that you would do for free, or something that you do that makes you feel good. And for me, just being in the kitchen and kind of surprising people, because it's like one of those things where it's like you can't really look at a person and tell if they can cook or not. So it's almost like that guy can cook. So it's like when you showcase that you know what you're really doing, it's a sense of fulfillment that comes along with it. I mean, it's only two or three professions in the world where people can get you to put something in your mouth. A doctor being one, a dentist, and a chef. The rest of the stuff people ain't going for. So we take it a lot more serious than you think when you think of it in those terms, that people are trusting us with their lives. So I always took an enjoyment and respected the trust level that goes along with it when somebody allows you to cook with them.
That's quite a story, and a delightful one at that. How did you get to the Food Network Cutthroat Kitchen contest?
Well, after discovering the passion years later at that restaurant, I decided I wanted to become a restaurant owner, and I wanted to have seafood on the menu. And in Baltimore, crab cakes is on every corner, like how casinos is on every corner down here. I have to get out of Baltimore with this product because everybody here knows what crab cakes are. So let me take this to Atlanta. So I ventured to Atlanta in hopes of opening up my own seafood restaurant. I had a building in mind that I was going to open up. It was a takeover restaurant. And so all I had to do was come up with first and last month's rent, operational costs, and we could go. I negotiated a deal for a couple of months, but long story short, it fell through. They felt like I didn't have enough experience to run my own restaurant, and so the investor backed out. I cried when that happened because I was like, I thought I was so close. I mean, this restaurant, it was already a restaurant, so it was every question that you had, where you gonna get the equipment and where you gonna get this, and you don't have to do any of that with this place.
Wow.
This place is walk in tomorrow and change the sign, and you have a restaurant. But one thing that I did do was set up with a lot of staffing agencies because I didn't know anybody in Atlanta, and I knew I needed to build my own brigade. So I started to reach out to staffing agencies and ask them, would they be able to, find me some employees and stuff like that. And so when the deal fell through, these companies was calling me every day talking about, hey, do you still need those people? And I'm like, no, change the plans. I actually need a job now. I need you to send me somewhere because I don't have the restaurant and it's not coming. So I ended up working with these staffing agencies for about 5 years. It was realistically how I became Chef Stew. It was the work ethic that Food Network realized because I had made a video showing all the places that I had worked. I realized that it was by the God's hands that I didn't get the place when I supposed I got the place, and that every place that I would work at until I got my own restaurant was ordained. When I worked at McDonald's, I kept the pay stub, I kept a shirt. When I worked at Taco Bell, I kept my shirt, kept a pay stub, the Marriott, the Ritz-Carlton. And for about 5 years, I worked with 2 staffing agencies, sometimes 3. And just it ended up becoming like 51 places in a 5-year time frame. I encourage people to go to YouTube, find the video, Becoming Chef Stew, because this is really important. I know we live in a microwavable society where everybody thinks things should happen instantaneously. People see me on the TV shows, but I want y'all to realize that there was 50-something places and that work ethic that actually got their antennas raised.
Right.
And they seen the video that I posted, and they knew that I was trying to come up with the funding for my own restaurant, and so they gave me an opportunity to actually get on the show, The Great Food Truck Race. Was my first real Food Network contact. So I was excited because the prize was $100,000, plus you get to compete for a food truck, and I'm saying, this is almost like that restaurant, everything that I need, and you know what I'm saying, right here. So I thought that I would get onto the show. I had my concept ready, and if I win this show, I got the truck, I got the money, and ta-da, thank you. But long story short, as we know, that your greatest success moments only come after your biggest disappointments, because they called me and was like, Stu, sorry you didn't make the last cut. And I hate to sound like a crybaby, but guess what? I cried again. I said, man, listen, lady, you have no idea how bad I want this opportunity. I actually moved to San Francisco in hopes that I would get on this show so I could study cuisine in San Francisco, so that if I go up against chefs just from over here, that I would be just a little bit more competitive, because I would be aware of some of the things that they might be trying to do on the truck. And she said, for real? She said, yeah. And she said, I'm going to give you another opportunity. And I thought she just was telling me that. But she ended up calling me back and got me on Guy's Grocery Games. So Guy's Grocery Games technically was my first physical appearance on Food Network. And although I got eliminated in the first round, I was extremely nervous. I was, like, super excited. It was everything. Like, But I realized a valuable lesson in that loss, because I realized that, I probably would have did a lot better had I slowed down. I kind of got in my own way. I understood how to compete, and then not only how to compete, like how to compete on television. And that's when I came back for Cutthroat Kitchen. They gave me another opportunity, and then I went on Cutthroat Kitchen, and I won Cutthroat Kitchen. Based on, again, I'm giving you the meat and the potatoes of the story. I thank you for allowing me to speak so freely, because people just see the one. They don't know that I done got on shows and got eliminated first, and
Right.
got all the way down to the finish line and got cut. And so by just putting all that into it, when I went on Cutthroat, I felt like everything that happened for a reason. Like, now I understand what to do, how to slow down, not to be so nervous, and I won. I stayed focused throughout the whole competition, and I actually won the show, which changed the game for me completely. Not only did it give me the Food Network champion status, but more importantly, it gave a chance for my family, my friends, and now with fan base that I was creating, and a real opportunity to see what I can do in the kitchen, because, they see you post pictures, they see you standing next to people, but it always, can he really cook? Or is he a poster boy? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
They smile, or they be thinking, Stewart's just trying to, this was a photo op. But no, this guy really gets down my children. I had missed so many little things of, daddy being at work, and holidays and birthdays and little things like that throughout the years. And so for them to actually be able to watch the show and watch me win, it kind of was like, it was a win for all of us. And so that changed everything. And from there, phones started ringing, interviews started to come, other TV opportunities presented themselves, and I recently just was on Supermarket Stakeout. So I love Food Network. I hope y'all listening. Battle Box, but Food Network, it gave me a couple of opportunities, so they are here with me.
Hi guys, this is Tin. Listen, I don't know if you have been able to make your way over to lawalker.life on Facebook, but if you haven't, do yourself a favor, run over there and just read the snippets of her new book. She's writing a new book, and it is titled Seeing Beyond the Mess. I love it. A lot of the things that she wrote spoke to me personally, from things that she dealt with in her childhood, to church business, church people, being a lesbian, growing up in the church, and worrying about what people say, worrying about what people are going to think, and so many things. Even her topic of speaking on her partner that was battling dementia. My mother, the love of my life, the love of my heart, is deep in a battle of dementia. And so it's just so many things that she spoke on reached me, grabbed me, and pulled me in. And if you're not first in line to get your book, when this book drops, if you're not first in line, you better be second in line, because it's wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful. It is.
You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker.
We're back, and we're speaking with Chef Stu, the Food Network chef, winner of the Cutthroat Kitchen. Hey, Chef Stu has a foundation called Transition Kitchen. Tell me about it, Chef.
I love the line of questioning, because you kind of telling it in order. I mean, you're asking them in order, and you following my journey, because after literally winning the show and getting recognition for everything and feeling a sense of fulfillment for what I set out to do, because in the midst of all this, I still personally wanted the restaurant. Remember, the goal was to get a restaurant.
Right.
However, throughout the years, I started to kind of go with the personal chef thing and the catering thing. And so my company was successful. I'm on television now. I'm recognized for what it is that I do. I feel like I'm closer to the restaurant, and then I detoured. I felt as though, again, in the Reinvent Yourself thing, is what the topic of the station is, and what the whole topic of today is, it was like it was a time where I had to kind of give thanks. And to be honest with you, there's no real way to, so to speak, pay back God. I felt like knowing my real story, knowing how, wait a minute, you allowed for me to walk through 50-something places in this time frame. You got me cooking for celebrities. You got me on television now. You got me in magazines. I mean, how can I truly tell you thank you? I started out, just as most do, didn't always make all the right decisions from day one, and yet you came through and allowed for me to basically make something of myself bigger than I even ever imagined that it could be.
You better stop, boy. You're going to make me shout here in a minute. Come on now.
Now let me tell you that I'm appreciative of what you've done for me. So let me do something to let you know that I'm not in my head with this. And so at the time, I had wrote Transition Kitchen out. I had already had the idea of basically, creating some sort of a training program, because I felt like in our communities, the culinary world isn't a world that's highlighted within the minds of the youth across the board. I mean, the basketball player and the rapper is basically the way that most people feel like they're going to attain success in our communities, or a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, look, wait a minute. I can't rap. I'm definitely not about to put on nobody's helmet and lose my legs, but I can cook, and look at what my life has become. And so, like, this can happen to you. So I wanted to basically highlight the culinary arts industry. I wanted to showcase, the endless possibilities. I know that all across the board, we can point out the problems that we face within our communities, but seldom does somebody come with a solution. And so I felt like Transition Kitchen was my personal way to say, God, look, I'm going to circle back. I'm going to go back to my hometown of Baltimore. I'm going to petition on the behalf of the city and get people to stand behind me with this foundation so that we can create an environment where we can teach people the basics of cooking, because after all, the things that I learned as a kid would turn me into this. So I know that it works. Look at me. I'm the proof of this career choice. So instead of me telling you all the things that you should be doing and what you shouldn't do, and most of it I've done too, so let's eliminate that. Let me come back and show you how I did it. Most people get to the top and they must guard their secrets.
Right.
And for me, Transition Kitchen was to say, hey, look, I've gotten so high up that for real, I don't want to get called home today or tomorrow and I didn't share this with y'all. So look, let me show y'all.
That's beautiful.
This cut is called this. Let me do this and let me show you this. Now, you can take this course as a way to just basically learn how to cook like I did as a kid and be able to sustain for your family, or you can take what I'm learning and showing you and turn it into a career choice. And so I went back to the city and we started the program. And literally, it took a little while, but I got the support that I needed, built the staff that I needed. We began the training, and then eventually we expanded into other cities. And so I do what's called like assimilation training sometimes, where I just go and pop up at a random city. I've done it in San Francisco, where I'll just go to the roughest neighborhood in San Fran and grab 10 or 15 kids and train them for 2 weeks. Detroit, Las Vegas, Baltimore. I've had a chance to go to London so that I can make this like a global student exchange program. Set up with some chefs in London, so that we could pick 1 or 2 students from Baltimore or from one of the culinary arts programs throughout the U.S. and have them go to London. But it was a big accomplishment, honestly. It really was. It really...
It still is.
A little sense of fulfillment. Yeah, really. It really is. I mean, actually, to make a special announcement, we just expanded into Chicago.
My hometown.
Last week.
Yes.
Yeah, we in Chicago right now. We working with groups K through 4 and 4 through 8.
Oh, that's great.
Shout out to my pastry chef, Gail McGee. She's actually training the kids as we speak. So they have 15 classes. They don't know it, but if they listen to this interview, I'm going to pop up on them. And a couple of classes with some gifts, and let them know that I appreciate them taking the course, and I hope that they learned something. And even if you don't want to be a doctor or a chef or whatever, I mean, I don't knock the basketball player or the rapper. I mean, obviously, I'm entertained by music. I like sports too. But there's an oversaturation within our communities of people who think that that's the only way to get ahead.
You actually teach everything that goes along with maintaining that profession, finances, and so forth. Could you tell me a little bit more about the details of the program?
So one of the taglines is teaching culinary arts, teaching life skills through culinary arts.
Okay.
And so by design, there's a lot of characteristics that a chef needs that spills into people characteristics. For instance, appearance. I mean, you don't want to really eat from somebody who has grease marks and tire tracks on their jacket, or who
has
stuff hanging from their hair. And so it's certain things like that. So that would be something that I would highlight, the importance of, the appearance within a chef, being well groomed, being clean cut, So this is something that after you get home, you still actually have that look to you. Something as simple as pulling your pants up. Don't nobody want to really eat from a chef that's walking around and you can see what color his drawers are.
Nope.
So especially when I'm dealing with that younger crowd, so that's my little way to say, homie, look, this ain't how you can dress when you come in.
Right.
Things like basically being a lot more personable. I mean, we are in the hospitality industry now. So literally, if you're a waiter, if you're a dishwasher, you're going to be communicating with other people, and sometimes you'll be communicating with customers. So it's going to be important not to be saying every 15 seconds, what, slipping up the N-word and all these different things. So it gives me a chance to talk about the importance of being articulate and being able to express yourself and being able to be respected based on how you speak, because people appear bright sometimes until they talk. And then you don't really realize it, but you're sounding crazy right now. And I know exactly why you're not getting no rhythm with this situation, because you're not able to express it. So we highlight things like that. We talk about the importance of organization. I mean, chefs are super organized people. I got a menu. I got to be able to kind of put all this stuff together, keep everything organized and neat. That spills into the home. I mean, why would you clean up my kitchen all day and go home and your kitchen look a mess? Why would you make sure that everything is organized within here and then go home and your room looks a mess? So it's like little characteristics of things like you talking pleasant to people, you keeping yourself dressed, you being organized, and then, of course, balancing the books. I mean, it's all about the money.
All about it.
Really. So it's like, you only got $100, I got to feed 30 people with $100. I probably can't do lobster and steak tonight because the budget won't allow. So now we have to figure out something that we can, utilize and be able to do that. So it's a lot of things that we talk about within the lessons. And it's all kind of disguised in us highlighting the career choices. So the dishwasher, we talk about the cleanliness a little bit when we highlight that for the day. We talk about, manners, being pleasant, table etiquette. That all goes into that waiter type of a feel. That organization, leadership, being able to take direction from somebody, being able to get critiqued and criticized. That comes in with the cooking part. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
There's a lot that these kids walk away from. Like, I just thought we was going to be talking about eggs and bacon.
Right.
Want to go get a haircut. I got to go get my haircut next week for class. I ain't coming here with that dirty shirt on no more.
Exactly.
I'm saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and thank you. I'm realizing that I just know it, but if I look at it, a McDonald's number 7 every day, I'm spending $86 every 2 weeks, when we could have had burgers and fries for $24, not have had $60 to pay a phone bill.
Right. We need this so badly in our community, and we really, really need it to come from men, because most of our kids are accustomed to mama, grandmama, always sharing information, telling you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. But from a guy, it's just totally different, because especially when you're talking to another young fella that may not have a dad at home or an uncle or someone to look up to make the association of pulling up your pants, being clean cut with being successful is a lot different than just saying, pull up your pants. You're actually teaching a lesson. And you're there as proof, and with the credibility of your history. That's awesome. But you do so many things. I want to talk about your personal creation, Stew Sticks. What is Stew Sticks, and how did that come about?
Wow, you asking the right questions. I love you. Thank you. I hope this video goes viral. These are the questions that I need the answer to the world. Yeah. All right, so the gifts and the curse of some of my accomplishments, I tell you, because as I was doing all these wonderful things, I was noticing that at some point, some of my clients was feeling like I was unattainable, and I kind of had to ask myself, really, okay, how do I appeal to the public? Because, in the business, is appeal to everybody, you appeal to no one. Right. But at the same time, too, in my personal life, so to speak, as Chef Stew, that's when I go and I fly and I go cook for people who can afford to pay that type of money. But at the same time, I didn't want to alienate the next door neighbor. And by me being a caterer and working for personal chefing, sometimes it wasn't in people's budget to hire me for 2 people when I send you a $500, $700, $800 invoice.
Right.
It's like we could just go to a restaurant tonight. Yeah, but you didn't, you know what I'm saying? I get it. So stew sticks was one of my signature appetizer items that I was presenting to all of the people that I was cooking for. And so what I realized is that I needed to be able to come up with a restaurant concept for the restaurant. Knowing everything that I had do throughout the years, my restaurant concept was constantly changing, thus the reinvention part was coming. And so I realized, you know what, I need to just basically take my signature appetizer menu, change it a little bit, and turn it into a fast casual concept restaurant where I can appeal to the masses. I can now have something at a price point between $15 to $25 per person, where it's a lot bit affordable for people to try.
Sure.
And so that's really where that became. It was like, yo, you know what? My phone not ringing. I know what I'm going to do. Stew sticks, guys. Guess what? I got a package that you now can afford. And so I wanted to appeal to the masses. I wanted to appeal to the public. And I wanted them to feel like, you know what? Stop thinking you can't afford chef stew. I mean, chances is you probably couldn't if we was just doing something really extravagant. But if you wanted to do stew sticks, guess what? That's right within your budget. And so Stew Sticks was launched. I actually have been doing it for a while, but I just formatted, gave it a name, incorporated it, and then I presented it to the world. And so I had been testing the market with it for the longest, but now I've made it available for anybody. And so Stew Sticks, before COVID, was gaining a lot of traction, and towards the end of the year, we was able to get a few things off now. But hopefully next year, y'all be seeing a lot more Stew Sticks. The concept was designed to go into stadiums, airports, casinos, that fast casual grab and go, be able to walk in, see all your sticks laid out, see all your suggested sides laid out, pick what you want to pick, and at the end of the line, go in and pay for it and go tell friends how good Stew Sticks was.
Right. Well, I want to tell you this. I went to your website, and your pictures just make me want. I was so hungry by the time I got through looking at all your dishes. They look spectacular. I don't know who did your photography, but I'm telling you, every picture pops. It tells a story. It's really an amazing website. You've done a fabulous job with it. And I can't wait to share it with my audience, because people are looking for something different. And we're going to spin out of this COVID deal at any time, and people are going to be entertaining like crazy. I know they will, because I'm going to be one of your first customers. You're called a celebrity chef not just because you won on the Food Network, but because you actually do cater to some of the major celebrities in our country. Could you share a couple of names with me of people that you've catered for?
The list has grown so long over the course of the years, I can't remember them all by heart, but I got to shout out Lunel. That was actually one of my first clients, Lunel. Michael Keith from 112. Can't forget about Shaquille O'Neal, David Banner. Had a chance to cook for Tracy Ellis Ross, Malcolm Jamal Warner. Who else? Angie Stone, Miss Deb. Shout out to Miss Deb in the A. I did Bobby Valentino listening party, so shouts out to Bobby V, Young Jock, Carly Red, Gabrielle Union. I mean, so I've had a chance to cater some events where there's been a lot of people in attendance. I mean, that's just the stuff that I publicly was able to get pictures, but there's some people that, you know, kind of got left off the list only because I don't have the picture to prove it to y'all. So
right. Yeah, people be like, yeah, sure you did. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like I'd be like, no. Remember, it was March 14th, 1964. It was a Wednesday. I was catering a lunch for your grandfather. I was the dude in the back with the red chef jacket on. I sat there and watched you eat the food. But that's pretty much it. I can't forget Shaq. You know what I'm saying? That was one of my first ones too. I actually took a picture with Shaq to show my son because I knew that he wouldn't believe it.
Listen, I saw Shaq at the Mix here in Las Vegas, and we were so amazed because when he walked through the Mix, it was like we were all little children. There was no one that could compare to him in height, and it was just amazing. And he was so personable, so that was a good experience for me.
You know what? I got the funniest Shaq story in the world, though, honestly. And one of these days, I hope he hears it so he can bust out laughing. But Shaq broke my phone, and he don't know it. But I was trying to take a picture. I was trying to take a picture with Shaq. So I was like, and then he was like, let me see. So he went to hit the button, but his finger's so big, he opened up 3 apps at the same time. You know, I don't know what happened to my phone. But I don't know. Somebody else took the picture, but he walked off. I said, man, he done opened up my Facebook, my Instagram, and my Twitter all at the same time. No, but Shaq is a cool dude, man. He really is. He's funny. He's mild-mannered. I mean, he's a joker. He's attainable, you know what I'm saying? And so I know it gets tiresome after a while. Everybody want to take your picture, and everybody want to ask you the same question a million times. And I'm kind of new to the realm of the celebrityism, and so, you know, I can understand what that is. But then really to see people who are much, much more famous, I would say, or known, and all that comes along with that. And so it makes you just a little bit more appreciative when you really know the ins and outs of it, to see how, you know, they can keep it upbeat even when they probably feel like just saying, look, I done took 75 pictures today. I done talked with 37 people about that dunk. And here comes another 75 people that's about to want to ask for a picture. This is the same thing. So shouts out to all of the celebrities that I've had a chance to actually meet, cook for, and was cool enough to actually take a picture.
That's marvelous. You know, your life already speaks very loudly to this whole process of transitioning and the process of reinventing yourself. But because all of us seem to be going through a very difficult time right now with COVID and all the isolation, and we've got a viral pandemic and a political pandemic and a racial pandemic. A lot of people have lost their jobs. They're not going to be able to go back to their businesses. A lot of businesses have collapsed, especially small businesses. What would you say to everyone that's going through?
I really don't know what to say other than, even when you get to the end of your rope, just tie a knot and hold on. I've really suffered tremendously with my personal business at Stew Sticks. I mean, the launch was scheduled for February, January is when I really introduced the package. I had set up with a bunch of food critics, and I went on to 4 different cities, and I was unveiling the package. And it was looking promising. You know, we started to get all these calls about events, and then voila, COVID came, cancellations, refunds. I mean, and it lasted for 7 months. And so I can't say that I didn't grow weary. All that I tried to do was reinvent myself as much as possible, and just try to just use that time to basically reconfigure how I would do things, you know, once it kind of got back into it. And so I would hope that some of the people just took advantage of the month, because now, I mean, it looks like it's about to change, and we really was locked in for 6 to 7 months. I mean, that was more than enough time to actually acquire a lot of new skills. I was able to just kind of just work on some things that I hadn't had a chance to work on because I was locked in the house for so long. Shut the foundation down. I do personal events for my minimum was 50 people at one point. So it's like they were talking about 10 people was too much. So
wow.
And, you know, I'm catering on television sets, you know, making television appearances. And so it was just a lot of things that I would have normally been able to do that I can't do. Obviously, I'm still getting the interviews. I'm still getting a chance to tell the story. So I'm just taking what little is being given to me and just showing gratitude, which is kind of the real key to making the universe bend at times. And I know that, you know, so many people are circumstantial where they can only be happy when things are happening. But unspeakable joy engulfs you when nothing is happening. My children are healthy. People are still inquiring about Stew Sticks. I actually launched a spice blend, so my spice blend is about to be available. So Stew Sticks spice blend is coming to life, so y'all get ready for that. I got a special chicken seasoning spice blend that will be available really soon. So I've been working on that and just becoming a better man and just working on some things that I didn't have a chance to work on, you know, as far as my personal life was concerned and my credit and just everything. So take your eyes off the prize and utilize this time wisely.
Absolutely. Well, I have enjoyed talking to you tremendously. You're very personable and you have a story and you're not afraid to tell it. So thank you so much for sharing so much of yourself.
No, thank you for the opportunity. I always say all good things come from God, but the helping hand certainly belong to you. So thank you. I got to shout out Maxie B, Mary Jane girls, because she definitely said, you know what, Stu, I got somebody I want you to connect with. So Mary Jane girls, thank you, and I appreciate it.
To keep up with Chef Stu, just go to chefstew.com. chefstew.com. You're going to see some great pictures. You're going to see food that's just going to make you hungry. Yeah, do it, do it, do it. Our next episode is You Can, Will You? Our guest, comedian and actress Maria Russell, who is giving all of her talents to this new hit show on True TV, Tacoma FD. She has a lot to say. Very spiritual woman. You don't want to miss it. I need to give a shout out to the New York City Podcast Network that supports me greatly. We have a lot of listeners in New York, thanks to them. They're represented on Facebook, the New York City Podcast Network. Look them up. Check them out. And a shout out to our Up is Higher Than Down Facebook group. Well, we have some great conversations and encouraging words throughout the week. Why don't you come on over and join us? Check us out. Up is Higher Than Down Facebook group. It's just that simple.
Listen to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker every day. To follow up, make comments, discuss today's podcast, or find out how you can become a guest and share your victory over a negative life event, follow L.A. Walker. Up is Higher Than Down on Facebook. Look up, get up, stay up. Remember, any part of up is higher than down.